When a real crisis hits, I mean the kind where grocery store shelves go empty overnight, power grids start failing, and supply chains collapse like dominoes, most people realize far too late just how unprepared they really are. By then, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. If there's no food to buy, you're out of luck. It's not panic buying at that point. It's pure survival mode. That's why there are 6 foods you'll absolutely wish you had hoarded before everything went downhill. These aren't luxury items. They're survival essentials. Quietly powerful, affordable, easy to store. They don't need refrigeration, they last for years, and they can feed you when nothing else is available. In a real emergency, these basic foods can mean the difference between hunger and strength, or even life and death. And when times get tough, they become worth their weight in gold. So, before we dive into the list, make sure you subscribe, tap the bell icon, and like this video, so more smart people like you can start preparing now, not after it's too late. Let's protect our families, stock our pantries, and stay 5 steps ahead of the next big crisis. 1. Rice, the underrated powerhouse of survival. When people hear rice, they often think of a cheap side dish, or something that goes with curry or stir-fry. But in a real crisis, rice becomes a lifeline. It's no exaggeration to say that rice has helped entire civilizations survive famine, war, and collapse for thousands of years. This humble grain is one of the most calorie-dense, long-lasting, and versatile foods you can stockpile. Let's start with longevity. White rice, when stored properly, can last 20 to 30 years without spoiling. That means you can buy in bulk now and sleep easy knowing you've got food security for decades. It doesn't require refrigeration, and it takes up very little space compared to the calories it provides. Just 1 cup of dry white rice packs around 700 calories. Multiply that by a 25-pound bag, and you're looking at over 40,000 calories. That's food security in a sack. And in terms of preparation, it's a dream in a crisis. Rice only needs boiling water, which means if you have even a basic camping stove or rocket stove, you can cook it. You don't need fancy ingredients. Add a pinch of salt or some dried herbs, and you've got a warm, filling meal that can carry you through hard days. You can also make a quick rice porridge for babies, the elderly, or those recovering from illness. It's incredibly gentle and nutritious. More importantly, rice is a base food. You can mix it with canned beans, tuna, veggies, powdered eggs, or whatever else you have. It extends meals and keeps bellies full. During a crisis, keeping your family full and calm is priceless. And rice isn't just filling, it's comforting. That warmth in your stomach during cold, stressful times, it matters more than most people think. Hot food has a powerful psychological effect during dark times. It gives people a sense of normalcy and care, even when the world outside is chaotic. In fact, many preppers say a simple warm bowl of rice can lift morale in ways few other foods can. Here's another overlooked benefit: low cost and high availability. For now, rice is still relatively cheap, but global rice supplies are being threatened by droughts, war, and fertilizer shortages. India, the world's top exporter of rice, recently restricted exports due to crop failures. When that happens, prices spike worldwide. And what's affordable today could be unaffordable tomorrow. Stocking up now means avoiding that panic later. Even the US has seen sudden price hikes in rice in past crises, and it can disappear from shelves overnight. And one more thing, rice is culturally universal. Whether you're feeding kids, elderly family members, or someone with dietary restrictions, rice is one of the few foods everyone can usually tolerate. It's gluten-free, non-allergenic, and easy on the stomach. You can even grind it into rice flour to make porridge or simple bread alternatives if needed. It's also a great barter item. In a long-term crisis, people will trade heavily for staple grains, and rice will be gold in a sack. The smart prepper hoards rice because they understand this simple truth. When the world is falling apart, the basics become priceless, and few foods check all the boxes quite like rice: reliable, shelf-stable, calorie-rich, and endlessly adaptable. 2. Canned beans. Protein, fiber, and heartiness in a can. If you're looking for one of the most complete emergency foods to hoard, look no further than canned beans. These little cans hold massive power in a crisis. Beans are loaded with protein, fiber, complex carbs, and essential minerals that your body needs to stay strong under stress. Let's start with the practical stuff. A single can of beans usually costs under $1 and can last 3 to 5 years on the shelf, often more. They don't need refrigeration. They don't need preparation. In an emergency, you can literally crack a can open and eat cold beans with a spoon. Not ideal, but it keeps you alive. That's the difference between surviving and suffering. You don't need a full kitchen setup to survive on canned beans, but if you do have heat or a fire source, they're quick to warm up and easy to blend into. Beans are especially important because they're a plant-based protein source. In a collapse scenario, fresh meat is hard to find, and refrigeration might not be an option. But with a case of canned black beans, pinto beans, or kidney beans, you've got a protein solution that can carry your family through. And here's the thing. Protein keeps your muscles from wasting during high-stress, low-food periods. You're not just filling your belly, you're preserving your body. And they're filling, really filling. Beans are packed with soluble fiber, which means they slow digestion and keep you feeling full for hours. That's critical when food is scarce. You don't want to burn through your stash too quickly, and you don't want kids or elderly relatives constantly hungry and anxious. Beans provide slow-burning energy that stabilizes mood, energy, and health. Hunger makes people irritable, scared, and panicked. Beans help calm that storm. Another thing people forget: beans are rich in nutrients you can't afford to miss during long emergencies. Iron, magnesium, potassium, and B vitamins all play a huge role in your energy levels, immune health, and brain function. During stress, your body burns through these fast. Canned beans keep your system supported, and in times of illness or infection, they can be the difference between healing and crashing. Now, think about cost. You can stockpile a dozen cans of beans for under $10 in most stores. That's a week of protein. Try getting that from meat. And yes, there's variety too.
Canned beans are more than just survival food. They're peace of mind in a metal shell. You don't just hoard them because they're cheap. You hoard them because they'll keep you going strong when the world goes quiet. 3. Peanut butter, the compact survival superfood. Peanut butter might seem like a comfort food, but in a food crisis, it becomes an absolute nutritional powerhouse. High in healthy fats, protein, calories, and essential nutrients, it's one of the smartest foods to hoard while it's still affordable and available. One jar of peanut butter can contain up to 3,000 calories, and it fits in the palm of your hand. That's unheard of calorie density. When every meal counts, peanut butter delivers maximum energy in minimal space. You don't need a stove, you don't need water, you just need a spoon. It's the ultimate no-cook, no-prep, zero-waste survival food. Kids love it, adults need it. And in a situation where energy is scarce and you're doing manual labor, walking, or even defending your home, those calories and fats are going to be essential. Let's talk shelf life. Unopened peanut butter can last 2 to 3 years, and even after opening, it stays good for weeks or months, depending on the climate. That's better than most dairy, meat, or even grains. And unlike sugary snacks, peanut butter is nutritionally balanced. It's got protein to keep your muscles from wasting, healthy monounsaturated fats to protect your brain and heart, vitamin E, niacin, magnesium, and potassium, all vital nutrients that get depleted fast under crisis stress. Another overlooked point: peanut butter is mood food. In high-stress situations, the psychological toll of survival can be brutal. A spoonful of something familiar, fatty, and rich can calm nerves, bring back a sense of normalcy, and even help kids cope. When you're sitting in a powerless house or huddled in a shelter, the comfort of peanut butter can be surprisingly powerful. It also works as a meal stretcher. Spread it on crackers, mix it into oatmeal, pair it with rice, or just eat it straight. It's compact, flexible, and satisfying. Don't like peanuts? There are alternatives. almond butter, sunflower seed butter, or even soy butter. But peanut butter remains the most cost-effective, high-calorie, shelf-stable food of the bunch. It's cheap, stores easily, and one jar can feed multiple people in a pinch. Here's a real-world scenario. When the 2020 pandemic hit, peanut butter was one of the first items to vanish from store shelves. Why? Because people instinctively knew it could help them ride out the storm. That wasn't just panic buying. That was survival instinct kicking in. So don't wait for shelves to clear again. Peanut butter belongs in every emergency food stash, bug-out bag, and long-term prepper pantry. 4. Pasta, the long-lasting comfort you didn't realize you'd miss until it's gone. Let's be honest, when you think of comfort food, pasta probably comes to mind. It's that cozy, familiar, warm bowl that fills your belly and heart. And when a crisis hits, that comfort becomes more valuable than gold. But beyond just emotional comfort, pasta checks off all the boxes for a crisis-ready food. It's cheap, it's shelf-stable, it's incredibly versatile. And best of all, it lasts for years when stored properly. Unopened pasta, whether it's spaghetti, penne, elbow macaroni, or even ramen-style noodles, can last up to 25 years if stored in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers. Yes, 25 years. That's not just a stockpile, that's a food fortress. During emergencies, when grocery shelves are empty or your town is cut off due to floods, unrest, or a sudden economic crash, you'll be thanking yourself for thinking ahead. Pasta becomes a lifesaver in more ways than one. Another reason to stockpile pasta is its high caloric density. 1 pound of dry pasta provides nearly 1,700 calories. That's vital when food becomes scarce and every calorie counts. In survival situations, energy means endurance, and pasta delivers that with ease. Plus, it's not just energy, it also has a decent amount of protein and iron, and when paired with other foods like canned meat or beans, it becomes a complete and nourishing meal. And let's not ignore how easy it is to prepare. All you need is boiling water. In a grid-down situation, a solar kettle, propane stove, or even a campfire will do. No electricity, no problem. Within 10 to 15 minutes, you've got a meal ready to go. And you don't need fancy ingredients to make it taste great. A bit of salt, olive oil, or some foraged herbs, and you're set. Pasta also works with whatever else you've hoarded. Got peanut butter? Try peanut noodles. Have canned tuna? Make a tuna pasta salad. Even without sauce, just a bit of garlic or powdered cheese can turn plain noodles into something you actually look forward to eating. In economic collapses or prolonged food shortages, carbs become harder to come by and prices skyrocket. Pasta can be bartered, traded, or gifted, and believe me, people will value it like treasure. Imagine being the person who still has spaghetti when everyone else is lining up for hours hoping for a ration box. That's not luck. That's preparation. And don't forget about the psychological boost pasta brings. Eating something familiar and satisfying during chaos can help reduce stress, keep spirits up, and maintain a sense of normalcy. In long-term crises, mental resilience is just as important as physical survival, and pasta contributes to both. So if you haven't already loaded up your shelves with pasta, whole wheat, gluten-free, egg noodles, whatever you prefer, now's the time. This is one food you'll wish you hoarded when it's too late. 5. Canned tuna or salmon, protein power that lasts years. Now, let's talk about what might be the single most nutrient-dense emergency food in your pantry. Canned tuna or salmon. These little metal cans might not look like much, but they hold incredible survival power. If you're building a stockpile for the next crisis, whether it's war, inflation, a supply chain collapse, or even just unexpected job loss, canned fish is one food you should never overlook. First of all, Let's talk about shelf life. Most canned fish last 3 to 5 years at room temperature, and even longer if stored properly in cool, dark places. But more importantly, it doesn't just last. It stays safe, nutritious, and ready to eat straight from the can. No cooking, no heating, no water needed. That's vital in a no-power scenario. You could be stuck in a blackout for days or even weeks and still have a meal with just a can opener. Now, let's talk about protein. Just one can of tuna contains around 20 to 30 grams of high-quality protein, making it an ideal food source when other meat becomes scarce or unaffordable. And it's not just about muscle building. In survival settings, protein keeps your immune system strong, helps your body repair itself, and keeps your energy levels stable. Combine canned tuna or salmon with rice or pasta from your stockpile, and you've got a complete meal packed with everything your body needs. But that's not all. Canned salmon contains omega-3 fatty acids, which help fight inflammation, support brain health, and keep your heart in good shape. These nutrients are hard to find in most emergency foods, especially if you're relying on carbs, canned veggies, and dried goods. During prolonged crises, nutritional balance becomes incredibly important, and canned fish delivers on that front in a big way. Here's something else. The bones in canned salmon are edible and loaded with calcium. In times of nutritional scarcity, having a calcium source is often overlooked, but it's essential for bone health, nerve function, and overall stability, especially for kids and elderly people. And let's not forget how versatile canned fish is. You can eat it plain, mix it with mayo, mustard, or seasoning packets, or toss it into pasta, rice, or crackers. In survival scenarios, every bit of variety helps reduce food fatigue. The more creative meals you can make from your stash, the better your morale will stay. There's also a barter value to consider. Protein becomes a hot commodity in every crisis. A can of tuna could be traded for batteries, medical supplies, even fuel. People will give anything for a clean source of meat when meat becomes a luxury. Plus, it's compact and stackable. You can store dozens of cans in a single cabinet without taking up valuable space. Some preppers even line the bottoms of their closets or underbed storage with canned protein. It's that important. Bottom line, whether you prefer tuna, salmon, mackerel, or sardines, start hoarding now. When meat prices spike or vanish entirely, this protein powerhouse will keep you and your family alive and well. 6. Oats, the unsung hero of food security. And finally, we come to oats, one of the most overlooked, underrated, and yet essential survival foods you can possibly stockpile. If there's one grain that should be in every prepper's pantry, it's oats. Let's begin with shelf life. Rolled oats or steel-cut oats stored in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers can last up to 25 to 30 years. That's not a typo. That's longer than most mortgages. Imagine stocking your shelves today and knowing that 20 years from now, in the face of any crisis, those oats will still be good to go. That's the definition of long-term food security. And oats aren't just long-lasting, they're incredibly nutrient-dense. They provide complex carbohydrates for sustained energy, a decent amount of protein, iron, zinc, and fiber. But most importantly, they're rich in beta-glucans, a type of soluble fiber that helps lower cholesterol, stabilize blood sugar, and improve gut health. In a prolonged crisis, health becomes a survival asset, and oats support it on every level. Another major plus? They're cheap. Dirt cheap. For just a few dollars, you can buy pounds of oats. That means you can build up your food stockpile even on a tight budget. And unlike many other shelf-stable foods, oats are extremely filling. A single bowl of oats can keep you full for hours, making your food supply stretch further when resources are tight. Oats are also incredibly versatile. Yes, you can make classic oatmeal, but that's just the start. Use oats in pancakes, energy bars, bread substitutes, or even savory oat risottos. Add a bit of honey, cinnamon, powdered milk, or dried fruit, and you've got variety even in lean times. You can even grind them into flour to bake or thicken soups and stews. And let's talk about preparation. Oats can be cooked with water or milk, or even cold soaked overnight if you have no access to fire or electricity. This overnight oats method is perfect for blackout situations where fuel is scarce. Just soak the oats in water, and by morning, you have a ready-to-eat, soft, nutritious meal with no heating required. There's also emotional and mental resilience in having a hot, hearty breakfast when everything else feels out of control. A warm bowl of oatmeal on a cold, dark morning can remind your family that life is still manageable. In fact, in many war-torn or famine-struck regions, oats have been the difference between despair and survival. And don't forget how well oats combine with other foods you've hoarded: powdered milk, peanut butter, dried fruits, honey, canned fruits, even chocolate chips. When you can mix and match meals, food fatigue decreases and morale increases. To top it off, oats are a great food for children, elderly, and those with sensitive stomachs. In a crisis, you may not have access to medications or medical care. Having a gentle, nutritious food option is priceless when someone in your group falls ill or needs soft, easy to digest meals. So don't underestimate this humble grain. Stock up on oats in bulk. Store them in food-grade buckets, mylar bags, or mason jars. Add oxygen absorbers. Keep them dry and cool. And when the crisis comes, oats might just be the one food that sees you through. Don't wait until it's too late. If we've learned anything from recent years, from pandemics to wars, inflation to climate chaos, it's that food security is never guaranteed. Grocery shelves can go bare in a day. Supply chains can freeze overnight. Prices can triple without warning. And in the middle of that chaos, people will look back and say, "Why didn't I prepare sooner?" Rice, canned beans, peanut butter, pasta, canned fish, and oats. These aren't just pantry staples. They're life-saving investments in your future. You don't need to be a doomsday prepper. You just need to be smart. These 6 foods give you calories, protein, comfort, and security, all at an affordable cost, and with a shelf life long enough to weather nearly any storm. So take action today. Stock up now, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because the day is coming when you'll be glad you listened. And when the crisis hits your door, you'll be one of the few who's ready. Before you go, ask yourself this: will you be the one who's prepared, or the one who's panicking when the shelves go empty? If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss out on survival strategies that could make all the difference. And tell us in the comments, which of these foods do you already have stockpiled, and which one are you going to grab next? Because when the crisis hits, it's not about panic, it's about preparation. And you're already ahead of the game just by being here.